Everything is broken. Peter's going to tell us how on today's Not So Critical update.
I came across this article on, I can't believe I'm saying this, on LinkedIn, where Paul Vixie, hero of mine, who wrote some foundational DNS software a long time ago and has remained a legend from the minute he did that. Also super nice guy. Posted saying that he rereads this, I think 3 or 4 times a year. And I can see why. If you want to remain depressed and hating the world. The title is Everything is Broken, and it's basically a treatise on how everything is just shit in the software world. Everything's held together by duct tape and dreams. And the reason that the NSA is able to spy on everybody isn't because they are a bunch of mathematical wizards and super spy geniuses. It's because the software's so bad that they don't really have to do very much.
But also incredibly complex. So one of the quotes from the article is, computers have gotten incredibly complex while people have remained the same gray mud with pretensions of godhood. Your average piece of shit Windows desktop is so complex that no one person on Earth really knows what all of it is doing or how.
So an interesting thing about this article is that it was written in 2014, and it's amazing that it holds up so well. And I actually had to point this out to Mike and John just before we started recording, because they didn't realize that you might have guessed by the fact that the embedded tweets aren't visible anymore because they're not there. Harley Quinn?
That's
Quinn?
why.
Yeah, Quinn, somewhere or another, is the author.
Quinn
they
Norton.
Still are active on Twitter. Quinn Norton, thank you. Sorry, Quinn. I don't know if people call you Harley Quinn that much. I almost did to say. So I guess their tweets aren't up or visible at the moment. But it's basically the same. If it was bad then, it's worse now.
A lot of the article is about... Go ahead, John.
A good example of this is the Signal hack, if you can call it that just occurred. Signal didn't get hacked. Twilio did, because of Twilio's terrible operations and technology and permissions, where I believe it was a technical support agent got phished. That technical support agent had access to Signal's history of sending out verification messages through SMS to verify a phone number.
Twilio is an SMS provider that provides the infrastructure for a huge number of products to do these SMS alerts or
automated SMS.
Yeah.
So
sorry, John, can you repeat that story? I wasn't really paying attention.
Shut was that up, Peter? So
I think this researching, reading the article.
Really important because Signal is borderline flawless.
Yeah.
Some would say it's the closest to perfect technology that we'll see.
And the minute you introduce any reliance on any third party,
any third party, and just because Twilio got phished and some attackers got 1,900 phone numbers, which is such a minuscule amount, they got 1,900 phone numbers. The U.S. government has all of it already. Because if Twilio is being held together by duct tape and strings, obviously, operationally speaking, then what is their backend looking like code-wise? And this is a big issue that we're just going to keep seeing. Like, there's no secure software development cycle. That doesn't fucking exist. That's a myth. Because the people who write the software overlook things, don't understand how things interact properly.
Does being the victim of a phishing attack necessarily mean that their code sucks, though, John?
Well, I think it's a good indicator of how companies run. If if your technical support engineers are able to be phished and provide their credentials, who's to blame? Who is to blame? The person?
Well, it's a training issue. The company's to blame. The company leadership, for sure.
It's an awareness issue. It is a recognition issue. And it's a permissions issue. If this person has that unvetted access without a one-way token swap where a user is able to grant access to the support agent when needed, then something's already wrong. So Twilio is able to see this. How many people, just like in Twitter, how many people are able to see this and all this other data about their customers and all the SMS messages that they're sending? Because that's also, and to the phone numbers and names, and I don't even want to know what else, right? So it says a lot. Just that one thing says a lot about a company.
Part of the problem is that that it's a human thing, right? So if you had to verify every time you wanted to have access to the call log history, which is probably something that a technical support agent has to deal with quite a lot, like look into people's histories and see whether the SMSs were sent out properly and blah, blah, blah. Maybe at one point they did actually have to have proper authentication every time they wanted to do something like that. And then they did it so often, then they had to bother someone else so often that they were just like, oh, come on, Plant, can't you just give it access to me properly? And then the IT admin who was overworked or underpaid or both or whatever, or fired or, new, just said, oh, all right, and then turn it on. And then that's that. They've got access. And it's just a human thing. And that happens everywhere. And it's behind the scenes and everything. And in the end, it's just another expression of everything is broken. We're all just humans at the end of the day.
So, John, this is a total tangential question, but if I'm in a company and everything I do is browser based, do I need to worry about local security?
Yeah, of course.
Why?
You mean local as in the device?
Yeah, on my PC. If everything I do is in a web browser, do I need security on my PC?
Of course.
This feels like a stupid question to ask it, but I'm kind of curious. Why is it important to have strict corporate security policy on a computer if everything we do is web based anyway?
So
the
as an attacker, yeah, right. No. And Peter is gonna add and edit and corroborate. As an attacker, I don't want to attack your browser or the session. It would be cool if I did, but that's a high apple on the tree. A way lower apple is physical access, which is very, very quickly overlooked. But if I get access to your laptop unlocked, right? Local access, that's what you said. Now I have everything. I have cookies and cache and passwords. Of course, unless you're using a password manager, maybe you configured your password manager to only ask for creds every 30 days. Well, then I do have all your passwords.
And right? I probably have active sessions already on the computer.
And you have active sessions. And because not all services provide session expirations, because that's just convenience. So yeah, local access, root access, if you want to call it that, that's the most dangerous. So I worked with this person. They're a security professional, and Authy, the authenticator, offers an application on your computer. 2FA, Authy, the 2FA provider or authenticator, has a Mac OS and Windows equivalent where I can get my 2FA codes to be saved on my computer. And this person was doing that. They were using Authy linked with their phone to their desktop. So the same codes on their phone was on their machine. And I was like, wait, that's not 2FA now. And they didn't get it at first. And I was
it's on the computer.
If I get access to your computer, I have access to your 2FA codes. And then it clicked. I was like, oh shit, you're right. Local access is probably the best access. With local access, you can do so much, because then I return it to you, but I've installed spyware. They'll just log everything.
I was looking at I think I mentioned this on our Discord the other day, which, by the way, if you guys anyone watching this is, you just think to yourself, you know what? I'm not on enough Discord servers. I need to be on another Discord server. I need to be on the best Discord server. Join ours. There's a link down
I'm
there.
glad you mentioned
Also,
that, Peter. We don't want to lose sight of
also
that.
subscribe, like and subscribe, please. It helps the algorithm. It helps us. It helps the world. Anyway, I was looking at a company called yeah, it helps us. And it helps you. It helps yourself inside.
Peter, get to your point.
Yeah, what was I talking about?
Discord, I think.
There's a company called Hack5, I think they're called. And they produce some unbelievable like spy gadget shit. It's really quite remarkable. They have a thing called the OMG cable, and it looks like a standard USB charging cable for the iPhone, but it's not. It's a full Linux computer which can intercept keystrokes, and it can hack a machine in seconds. They have a USB drive which just looks like a standard flash drive and has a cool thing called I think it's called DuckyScript that they use with it. And it's a scripting language which allows you to. So when you plug in a USB device, the USB device can be anything. It can be a mouse, a keyboard, a drive, another computer, anything. Right? What happens is that the USB drive that gets plugged in, this I forget what it's called exactly. The
Rubber ducky.
Rubber ducky. Thank you. The rubber ducky. It pretends that it's a keyboard, so that means that it can send keystrokes, which means that if you configure it, it can then send specific keystroke sequences, which will do things like copy the launch Windows command shell and then copy the contents of something to a temporary file and then email that to somewhere else. And because of the way Windows works, you can send hidden keystrokes, and DuckyScript allows you to script the whole thing, and it's just so cool. So basically, you can do that thing that they do in the movies, where you find an unlocked computer, you run up to it, and you put the drive in, and then you wait there, and it goes downloading, and then you get it on your hard drive. It literally can happen. I think they have one with a little progress meter on it as well. I think that
the skies is the limit with a rubber ducky for sure.
Amazing, yeah. There's all these kind of little gadgets and stuff, but if you have physical access, John is absolutely right. That is the golden ticket for hacking. I think that to add on to what John was saying, if you don't have physical access, I think it's still important to worry about every layer of security, because remote hacks for Chrome. I've stopped following the details of all the different alerts for Chrome or Firefox and whatever, and how they're vulnerable to different things. But I can tell you that I see alerts from CERT, the US Computer Emergency Response Team, saying Chrome releases fix for critical remote vulnerabilities on a monthly basis. And that just means that one of the things in this Everything is Broken article is every time that you see an update being released for something, that means that up until the point at which it was fixed and the update was applied, your machine was vulnerable. The piece of software you're using was vulnerable up until that second. So that means that somebody could have taken advantage of it, and everybody's always clicking restart later, or try it tonight, or do it. So you're just like, no, leave the critical security vulnerability on the machine, because I'm playing Candy Crush right now, and just do it when it's more convenient, please. Yeah, of course it's broken.
That's a great point.
In that article, go ahead, Mike.
John.
No, please.
No, I was going to wrap it up with a quote from the article, but go ahead. Did you want to plug the show again, John? Is that what you were?
No, I did not want to plug
it. Yeah, by the way,
thank you for reminding me. Please don't forget, we have a Discord channel. You get to talk to us, all of us, all the time, any hour of the day. Okay,
we've converted him, pulled him over to the dark
side. It's happening, Mike. It's happening.
Yeah, I know. He's in.
He's in. Don't fucking look at each other. So, what I wanted to say is that in the article, he mentions how we're still just fucking gray goop as humans, because technology evolves. We don't. We're static, convenience, fast everything all the time, access to all, just bullshit. And because of this, we leave ourselves open for these vulnerabilities of I don't want to update right now. Or the alternative is unprompted updates. Discord does this. Rolling updates every time it wants, basically. It will update you. You restart your machine, new update. You go to sleep, Close Discord, open it, new update. It will constantly check for you, and that's not good either. Because Discord literally doesn't trust its users to update, which means that now we have to trust Discord not to be compromised with a supply chain attack. So, yeah, nothing is fun. Everything sucks. All is broken. Good night, New York. Or something.
It's so Peter made a really good point that tied into the article. Then John added onto that also, but no, just kidding. But both of you, so what you both of you said ties in really well to the end of the article. So we'll close with this from the article. Computers don't serve the needs of both privacy and coordination, not because it is somehow mathematically impossible. There are plenty of schemes that could federate or safely encrypt our data, plenty of ways we could regain privacy and make our computers work better by default. It isn't happening now because we haven't demanded that it should, not because no one is clever enough to make it happen. I think that perfectly summarizes where we are. All these things are difficult, and we just aren't taking it seriously enough. It is a problem that we could solve. This article was written in 2014. We still haven't solved it, and we probably won't.